So we were trying to, it wasn't even a matter of thinking how we could help, it's just that we helped. So we started by the Bismarck Emergency Center asking if we could help round up volunteers to open up a new sandbag site. So we did that and opened up Sandbag Charlie, which was near the Bobcat site.
Yes.
Yeah, we had to round up a couple hundred volunteers to staff that, because if you remember, people had to wait in line with trailers for sandbags for multiple hours.
Oh, I was at the fairgrounds, and one lady who started holding the bag while I was sandbagging, she said, yes, my husband's in the truck. We've been here for 6 hours already, and he's still way back in line. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so then the flood hotline was receiving so many requests for help that people, you know, they just couldn't adequately respond to everybody. And so people started calling us. So from the very get-go, we were answering our phone lines 24/7, even on the weekends. And our phones were going off. My cell phone would start ringing at 7 a.m. and would not end until 11 p.m.
Oh, I believe it.
It was wild. I had foster children at the time. I had 4 little girls, all sisters, living with me. And, it was just pandemonium. I took them to the sandbag site.
I was going to say, they probably got a lesson in sandbagging.
Yeah, and they loved it, too. They were so good. They were delivering sandbags with me at, 10:30 on a Friday night.
Oh, my gosh. Jena.
So we would link volunteers, recruit volunteers, and then link them with people in need. And that's probably why you were getting so many requests from us, because Facebook was just such a godsend. I mean, we would post a need. An elderly widow needs assistance evacuating from her home, or a disabled couple needs to be checked on. We don't know if they're okay and they have a plan to evacuate or assistance.
Okay.
Someone down in Sibley needs their house, sandbagged. Another home didn't know how to build a dike properly, so we recruited volunteers that had a lot of experience in that area. I mean, you name it, we did it.
Oh, wow.
It was unreal. And then I think one of the biggest things and most important things is that the city of Bismarck then asked us to start a recovery fund for people in Burleigh and Morton County. So we started this fund, and people are able to donate so that 100% of their dollars go directly to people in our area, which is so important because I think this area has been overlooked somewhat, and understandably so, because people in Minot
are just
their needs are so much more widespread, but we still have a lot of people here who have lost everything
as well.
Their entire life savings was in their home. We have young couples with young children
that are just starting out, and they don't have the funds to restart because they just started.
We have people who were going to retire who no longer can.
Yes.
We have people who are widowed and disabled. Where are they going to go? They have lost their home.
So when did you guys start this fund?
We started this in the end of May.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we're just trying to do what we can. It's not going to United Way by any means.
No, but it's just like you guys are facilitating where people can donate to.
Exactly, and then we'll have a special committee anonymously, reviewing cases, so they won't know, who is applying for what. It'll be presented by caseworkers and be prioritized based on a number of criteria.
Okay.
Income, availability to resources, elderly, disabled, etc.
Now, when does that start allocating the funds? When does that start?
Well, that's a good question. Right now, the committee, which is very separate from United Way, is being formed, and they're developing the process, and they're looking at how the Minot process and the Grand Forks process in the past. Fargo United Way did it 2 years ago.
Okay.
So they're doing a lot of research and making sure that they're covering all their bases and localizing the process here. And then in the near months, they're going to be reviewing cases as soon as people are done tapping out their other resources.
Okay. So now I want to get into we have a big event coming up here next week, actually. It's the Day of Caring. For those people who don't know what the Day of Caring is, talk about that.
The Day of Caring has been going for 11 years, and it's basically a massive volunteer event. It happens all on one day, and we have just hundreds of volunteers that go and do projects around the community to be able to, most importantly, help people in need, but also reduce the cost that a lot of our programs face on an ongoing basis. So, last year we saved over $100,000.
With all the volunteer workers that they did that day.
Exactly, and that's not even including their labor or the equipment. I mean, last year and in previous years, we've used Bobcat machinery, which, they just loan for free of charge to us. And so last year we had over 400 volunteers. They've each worked well over 5 hours.
Yes.
So, that's already, 20,000 volunteer hours in one day alone.
That's amazing. That's very cool.
It's really neat.
How many projects do you guys have for this year?
So far, we have 25 projects. But we're also, accepting some last-minute projects because we do still have people that want to get involved and want to know where the needs are. And we weren't sure what it would be like when we did our planning months ago as far as the waters. Have they receded yet?
Yes.
Yeah, are we going to be able to do some cleanup or not? And so we have added on a lot of cleanup projects related to the flood.
Okay, and now there was kind of talk about kind of turning this into days of caring. Is that still kind of a tentative idea?
Yes, it is. If we can pull it off, because the Day of Caring is our most labor-intensive event to put
definitely
on. Where, thank God, we have great co-chairs of the event, Ms. Kilee, Harmon,
whatever,
and Chanel Ulmer.
Chanel Ulmer rocks. She's Cooper Chevrolet and Cooper Subaru, and now Bismarck Motor Company. She's the marketing director for all. She's been awesome for sure.
Well, this is your second year, Kylie, and I can't say enough how
Well, it's been
wonderful.
a lot of fun this year trying to figure out, like you said, complete transition year from even last year. So
absolutely, and the community is so different this year too, as far as what the needs are.
Exactly.
Historically, our United Way has only gone to agencies to help. And just last year, we started to make a little bit of a transition and say, well, we can help individual homeowners or people in apartments or people just plain old in need, because that's what United Way stands for. It stands for everyone in our community,
whether an agency or not. And so now this Days of Caring, though, it's kind of more focused for helping with the flood recovery effort after the fact. Am I correct?
Right, because we weren't sure where the waters would be on August 17th, and we do think goodness have access to a huge volunteer corps within our community. We're thinking of adding on Days of Caring this year, again, to just be able to step up and respond to people in need and to be able to help where we can. And, we think we'll be able to organize different businesses and groups of volunteers to do cleanup around the community.
Okay, very cool. So now what other events do you guys have coming up here then in the fall and in the winter? I mean, your guys' big campaign, fundraising campaign. That's the word I was looking for. That starts, when does that start now?
Now, our Day of Caring is our kickoff for our campaign. And so that is August 17th. It's going to be just a really fun day. It starts at 7:30 in the morning at Century High School. And it's really neat to be around hundreds of volunteers. Have you ever seen that show, Extreme Home Makeover?
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's similar to that.
It is really like that. There's just so many people that are there ready to go.
Yeah, exactly, and just pumped up and excited to be able to help. And so that starts off our campaign kickoff. So we'll have the 25 projects that day. Then we're going to be adding on a couple days of caring to help with the flood relief. And then we do presentations, hundreds of presentations between September 1 and Christmas time. And so if there are businesses out there who you think you know what United Way does, but you want a 2-minute update or a 5-minute or a 10-minute, we can come into your staff meetings. We can come in. We encourage you to hold all company meetings to be able to listen to the United Way message, because if someone knows how our money is used and they know what the needs are, they're willing to give. It's not about asking your employees to give money, or to do something out of the ordinary, which would be a burden on them. It's actually giving them an opportunity to help, because a lot of people aren't sure where the dollars are most needed. And so they can designate their dollars to a certain area or to a certain agency, or they can give it to the general fund. And so if they want to give, say, $5 out of their paycheck or $10 out of their paycheck, if you added up, I mean, half of your employees, if they decided to just do that, how much money we could raise. I mean, last year we raised 1.5 million. And so we haven't set the goal this year, but we have the capability of fundraising far more than that for our area.
I fully agree. I mean, it's super easy because I know United Printing has taken part in it ever since I started, and just right away, I mean, the money just comes out of my paycheck each month. I don't even notice it anymore. It just sits out, and there it is. You know,
absolutely.
I think it's such an easy way for people to give if they don't have a lot of time.
They don't have a lot of time, or they don't, you know, they don't. Even if they don't have a lot to give, to know that they're part of a movement that's greater than themselves, it's a very, very good feeling to know that they're part of, you know, this problem-solving organization, and that they're part of this community and making the community better, not just for, you know, certain sections of the community, but for everyone
in general
as a whole. It's really neat. So we have our annual pancake breakfast, which is in October.
Okay.
And then we also have a bowling tournament.
Oh, fun.
And one important thing in September that we do every year is Coins for a Cause, where your kids can get involved in giving. And so they can bring their spare change to school. We give your kids a little baggie, and then that money that they donate goes to our Dolly Parton Imagination Library.
Oh, so that then more books and more kids can be involved.
Exactly. People who can't afford to sponsor themselves can still receive a book, and we're really looking at targeting lower income children, and children who might be involved in the WIC program or in certain schools that we know are lower income. We'll provide the service to everyone, but we want to make sure, too, that the books are going to people who are most in need.
Who really, really, truly need it.
Absolutely.
Well, really quickly, where can people go to learn more information about United Way and to donate?
They should go to our website, which is msaunitedway.org. And on our website, they will see a list of projects for our Day of Caring, everything from building a kennel at one of our shelters, because, I mean, let's face it, people are very attached to their animals, pets, and if they're in a crisis, that's the last thing that they want to either
get rid of their animals,
lose, or not be able to care for. We're also going to be refurbishing our new family shelter. We're going to be building a fence at the zoo, doing gardening and yard work type projects, you name it. I mean, it's on there, from everything from the zoo to Buckstop Junction to our shelters to the YMCA.
Very cool. And so then people can donate online too, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. They can donate specifically to the flood fund, or they can choose to donate just to our general fund in our campaign. The dollars are going to be kept completely separate, and again, 100% of the dollars that are donated to the flood fund will go directly to people in need for long-term recovery assistance.
Very cool. Well, Jena, thank you again for coming on this edition of City Chat with City Magazine. It was wonderful having you.
Kilee, thank you for all of your volunteer hours and your leadership. Really, your leadership is what's making this Day of Caring successful, so I appreciate your time.
Okay, we're done with that now, but thank you. And everyone, thank you again for watching this edition of City Chat with City Magazine. Make sure you check out the current issue, our August issue, and also go to our website at thecitymag.com, where you can watch past editions of City Chat with City Magazine. Have a good day, everyone.